How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Samach Vav, Daf 66 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends. So yesterday, at the end of the Daf, yesterday we learned this Brisa. And in the Brisa we saw a machlokas between Tanna Kama and Rabbi Eliezer. The Tanna Kama was Be'etzim, I think, saying like our Mishnah, which is that if you sell a house, so you only sell the things that are kavua, but the metaltalin, the things that are movable, are not included in the sale by default. So an example of that would be if you have a mortar. A mortar, I believe, is like the thing that you use the pestle to crush things in. And so if you have a mortar that was built into the house, so then it's included in the sale. But if you have a mortar that was first mortared separately, it was made separately, and then afterwards was like attached to the house, so then it would not be included in the sale. Whereas Rabbi Eliezer's opinion was that anything that is connected to the ground is treated like the ground, even if it was initially disconnected but was later connected, makes no difference. If it's currently connected, so then it is considered part of the property. And therefore, Rabbi Eliezer would say that even a mortar that was constructed separately and then later on attached would be considered part of the house. So now, based on this machlokas, essentially, I guess, we arrive at today's Gemara. So it says the Gemara and Daf Samachay Amud Beis, about 10 lines from the bottom or so. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbi started, Tziner shechokako ulvesof kivao posel es ha-mikvah. The Art Scroll translates mikvah as this crazy word, ritual. It's a ridiculous word, and now you guys are going to have to deal with it. So sorry about that. It was such a ridiculous word. How did he define? He defined mikvah as what daf were we? Oh, some name of base. Okay. No, sorry, it was just such a ridiculous word. Do you guys know what it is? Like, you're waiting for me to say it? Like, do you already know? A ritualarium. A ritualarium. That's ridiculous. I think that if I could remember that word, I'll probably use it instead of mikvah from now on. What a ridiculous word. A ritualarium is a mikvah. Okay, so sorry, I apologize in advance for driving you crazy, but I'm probably going to use that instead of mikvah. Ritualarium. So a ritualarium, a mikvah, needs to be 40 saw of rainwater. So now, if water comes from like a bucket or some kind of vessel, that would be mayim she'uvin, and that's not kosher mikvah water. So the shaila is, if you have like a gutter, okay, I think it was defining it as gutter, right? A gutter. I mean, is a gutter different than a pipe? I don't know. The article says gutter, so I'll say gutter. So if you have a gutter and it is guttering water into the mikvah, so the shaila is, if you first kind of hollowed out the gutter and made it into a vessel and only later attached it to the ground, which is how it would then get to the mikvah, the water would be transferred to the mikvah. If you had constructed the gutter separately and later attached it to the ground, so the Brisa says that it would passel the ritualarium. I think that was the word, ritualarium. Ritualarium. What a ridiculous word. So it would passel the ritualarium. But if it was if it was first connected to the ground and then he etched it out and made it into a vessel, well, then it's considered part of the ground, and it would not be considered like the water was in a separate vessel, and it would not be mayim shuvin, it would not passel the ritualarium. Okay, so says the Gemara, so if you have a gutter that you first made it into a vessel and only later attached it to the ground, so it will passel the ritualarium. Kivo levasov chakako. If he had first stuck whatever it's made out of, he had first stuck it into the ground, and only then kind of carved it into its shape and it made it into a vessel, well then Eino Posel Mikvah, it does not passel the ritualarium. Mani lo Rebbe Eliezer v'lo Rabbanan, and the understanding is that this brisa is like neither Rebbe Eliezer nor like the Rabbanan. So the shaila is, hey Rebbe Eliezer, which opinion of Rebbe Eliezer is this opinion not like? Okay, so I would assume it's not like our Mishnah, right? Because our Mishnah is not like the brisa we just quoted. The brisa that we just quoted said that so even if you would etch it first, right? We said like by the mortar in the house. If you constructed the mortar and then attached it to the house, it makes no difference. As far as Rebbe Eliezer is concerned, it would be considered the karka. So I would think that this is unlike that brisa, because that brisa is saying that if it was a vessel first, if it was a gutter first, and then you attach it to the ground after, it would passel the ritualarium. But according to Rebbe Eliezer, you would say, so I would think that, okay, when we say that the brisa is not like Rebbe Eliezer, it's also not like the Rabbanan, we're focusing on Rebbe Eliezer. When we say that the brisa by the ritualarium is not like Rebbe Eliezer, so I would think, it's not like Rebbe Eliezer of regarding a house, regarding the mortar that's connected to the house. So Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Eliezer the bias. So if you want to suggest, like I just suggested, that this is unlike Rebbe Eliezer of the house, Rebbe Eliezer who says that because I would think that by the mikvah, I don't care if it was shaped first into a kli. Once it's attached to the ground, it's considered mechubel karka, and it should not pass the ritualarium. But Dilma Hainu time of Rebbe Eliezer. But wait, maybe you can explain that there's a rationale for Rebbe Eliezer by the house, which is not relevant to the ritualarium, which is where am I? Rebbe Eliezer buys Dilma Hainu time of Rebbe Eliezer sover Dilma Hainu time of Rebbe Eliezer sover mocher ba'ayin yofe mocher Rabbanan tzavri mocher ba'ayin roa mocher. Maybe the only reason why Rebbe Eliezer says, with regard to the mortar in the house, Rebbe Eliezer says that even if it was constructed separately and then attached, it is included in the sale, because Rebbe Eliezer holds like Rebbe Akiva, or I guess technically he was Rebbe Akiva's Rebbe, but anyways, he holds that mocher ba'ayin yafehu mocher, and therefore the seller included the mortar in the sale, even if it was constructed in advance. But that rationale is not shaykh to the ritualarium. And maybe Rebbe Eliezer would say that by the ritualarium, maybe he would agree with the brisa, and say that by ritualarium, if you make the gutter first into a gutter and then connect it, maybe Rebbe Eliezer would say that it passes the mikvah. Maybe he would agree with the brisa by the ritualarium. Ve'el Rebbe Eliezer de kaveris devoirim. Rather, it's the brisa by the mikveh is unlike Rebbe Eliezer's opinion with regard to a beehive. The Tanan is learned in Mishnah, kaveris devorim, a beehive. Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Eliezer, harei kikarka. Now this is talking about a beehive that is separate from the ground, but then you cemented it to the ground. So be'etzim, it was initially separate. It was initially its own thing. But then you connect it to the ground. And what does Rebbe Eliezer say? Harei kikarka. We treat it like karka. We treat it like it's part of the ground. V'kosvin oleh pruzbul. And since it's considered karka, we can write a pruzbul for it, right? As we learned to Masechta Gittin, if Shimon lends Reuven $1,000, comes Shemitah, so the loan is going to be cancelled. But you can make a pruzbul. You can bet some transfer it to Bezdin, and but we only make a pruzbul if the Reuven was mishabed some karka to the loan. But if he doesn't have karka, so then there's no pruzbul. But if he has this beehive, so then that would be considered karka. You can make a pruzbul on it. It's connected to the ground. It's not makabel tumah. It's not makabel tumah. It's connected to the ground. Bimkoma, when it's in its place. If you chaparan some honey on Shabbos, chayiv chatos, you can be chayiv chatos, because Just like if you chaparan a fruit from a tree, if you disconnect a fruit from the ground, you'd be chayiv for tolesh on Shabbos. So oichit, if you were to take the honey from the beehive, because it's considered part of the ground. So we see that Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that this beehive is considered part of the ground, even though it was initially separate from the ground. The Chacham say Eino kikarka, the beehive is not considered like karka. We won't write a prusbul if that's all he has. And it will be makabel tuma even when it's cemented to the ground. And if you chaparan honik on Shabbos, you would be potter. It would not be considered like you're disconnected from the ground, disconnecting it from the ground on Shabbos. So we see that Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that something that was not connected to the ground, but was later connected to the ground, is considered like the ground. So that therefore the brisa by the ritualarium cannot be like Rabbi Eliezer, because according to Rabbi Eliezer, the gutter, once you connect it to the ground, it should be considered part of the ground, and it would not passel the ritualarium. But the Gemara says, Hasam kidamar balazar taima. However, no, the beehive is also not applicable because there's a specific reason for Rabbi Eliezer's opinion by the beehive. Just like there was a specific reason by the house, which we said mocher by and yafa mocher, there's a specific reason why he has his opinion by the beehive as well, which is the Amar Balazar. My time with Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer says, what's pshat with Rabbi Eliezer? The pasuk says by Yehoynisin, Vayitbol osa biyaris advash, that he took his staff and he dipped it in honik that was, I guess, in the forest. Ma yar atolesh mimenu b'Shabbos chayev chatos, just like if you plucked something from a forest on Shabbos, you'd be chayev a chatos. Avdvash arod mimenu b'Shabbos chayev chatos. So also honik, if you chaparan honik on Shabbos, so you're going to be chayev a chatos as well. So it's a specific thing by honey, because it says yaris advash by honey, so it's specific to honey. But maybe by the ritualarium, Rabbi Eliezer would agree that if the gutter was constructed first and only later attached to the ground, maybe he would agree that it would passel the mikvah and it would not be considered connected to the ground. El Rabbi Eliezer the daf. Rather, the brisa is unlike Rabbi Eliezer by a board that the bakers would put their bread on. Okay, bakers would bake bread, and then there would be a board that they would attach to the bakery, to the outside of the building or whatever. I guess some of them would attach it to the building, the outside, the inside. They attach it to the building, and from there, people would be able to come and chaparan bread from the shelf, essentially. So the thing is, so this board is essentially a vessel that you're then connecting to the building. So it's not that we learn in the Mishnah. Davshan achtom, in this board of the bakers that they attach to a building, shekvo bakosel, that you attach it to the wall. Rabbi Eliezer says that this board is not mikabel tumah. That this board is not mikabel tumah, even though it was first made into like this shelf and only later attached. It's considered like part of the building, and it is not mikabel tumah. And the chachamim say that the board is tameh, even when it's attached. Even if it would have first been attached to the building, right? Even if it was attached to the building, the whole time. So Rabbi Eliezer, so the brisa cannot be like Rabbi Eliezer, right? The brisa by the ritualarium cannot be like Rabbi Eliezer by the board, because Rabbi Eliezer says by the board of the baker that even if he would first construct it into a board and then connect it to the building, it would not be mikabel tumah, it would be considered part of the building. And therefore the brisa by the ritualarium cannot be like Rabbi Eliezer, because the brisa says that when you first construct the gutter and then connect it to the ground, it passes to the mikvah. But Rabbi Eliezer would say, if it's connected to the ground, it's connected to the ground. It won't passel the ritualarium. And Rabbanon, and the Brisa also cannot be like the rabbis, because afilu kvo levasov chakako nami, because the rabbis say by the baker that even if the shelf was initially connected to the wall, to the building, still it would be makabel tumah. Whereas by the ritualarium, we said that if you first stuck it into the ground and only then made it into a vessel, you would be it would not passel the ritualarium. So we're saying that this brisa is like neither Rabbi Eliezer nor like the Chachamim by the baker. The Olam Rabbi Eliezer so we want to say, no, really, no, don't say that, right? Meaning, okay, so we have this brisa by the ritualarium, right? If you first made it into gutter and then put it in the ground, it passes the ritualarium. If it was in the ground and then you made it into gutter, it doesn't pass the ritualarium. And that is unlike Rabbi Eliezer. Right? We had a tradition. It's unlike Rabbi Eliezer. It's unlike the Chachamim, and it seems like it's unlike Rabbi Eliezer and unlike the Chachamim of the brisa by the baker. So we say no. You can say actually that the brisa by the ritualarium is like Rabbi Eliezer. It's not like Rabbi Eliezer. Sorry for the double negative. It's like it could be Rabbi Eliezer's shita. L'olam Rabbi Eliezer the brisa by the ritualarium taka is Rabbi Eliezer v'shayni pshute clay eitz de tuma de rabbanon. And the only reason we can argue that the only reason why Rabbi Eliezer says by the baker, if the board was separate and then he connected it to the building, it's not going to be makabel tuma, because the board is pshute klei eitz, simple wooden vessels, the tumah d'rabbanon. First of all, okay, what's pshute klei eitz? Pshute klei eitz is simply like a wooden board. There's no base kibul, there's no vessel. It's not like some kind of a container or something. It's just a plain wooden board. Pshute klei eitz. So actually, they're not makabel tumah at all. Not even midrabanan, not midoraisa, not midrabanan, nothing. It's not makabel tumah at all. But the Gemara is right now saying, though, that pshute klei eitz are makabel tumah midrabanan, and therefore, and that's what we're talking about by the baker. And therefore, Rabbi Eliezer is lenient to say that if he first had this board and then he connected it to the wall, so then it will not be makabel tumah. Okay, the implication being, right, Michlad the Shiva de Oraisa, that's the Gemara is going to ask that, but the implication being that by the mikvah, however, by Mayim She'uvim, which is the Oraisa apparently implied, so Rabbi Eliezer, perhaps you could say that price is even like Rabbi Eliezer. That Rabbi Eliezer would say there that since it's the Oraisa allegedly, if in that case, if you first made the gutter into gutter and then connected it to the ground, it would passel the ritualarium. But Michlal the Shiva the Oraisa v'Karmelon the Rabbanon. But one second, that would imply that Mayim Shuvin is Midoraisa, right? I mean, the whole point is that we're saying, well, the Pshute Klei Eitz by the baker is Midorabanan. So Rabbi Eliezer says it's not Makabel Tumah. But by the ritualarium, the Mayim Shuvin, he would say that it would pass the mikvah, implying that while the Pshute Klei Eitz is Tamim Midorabanan, Mayim Shuvin is Tamim Midoraisa. The truth is, Pshute Klei Eitz is not Matame at all, and Mayim Shuvin are only Matame Midorabanan. Ve'od, more so, Omer Reb Yossi ben Reb Chanino, that says Rabbi Yosef Rab Chanina that by the baker we're talking about a metal shelf, and metal is mekabel tumah midoraisa. So we're not talking about tumah d'rabbanon. So l'olam rabbanon he. So rather you could say that it is like the rabbis, right? So meaning the rabbis had said. Okay, the rabbis had said by the base. So we're talking about a metal shelf, which is Makabel Tumah Midoraisa. And the rabbis had said that it's going to be Makabel Tumah whether it was separate from the wall and then you connected it, or whether if it was connected to the wall the whole time, constructed as part of the wall the whole time. It makes no difference, it's going to be Makabel Tumah. However, by the ritualarium, since Mayim Shuvin is only Midorabanan, they're lenient and they say that if it was connected to the ground and then etched out, it would not passel the ritualarium. Right? So Olam Rabbanani V'shani Shiva D'Rabbanan. That since Ma'im Shuvin is only D'Rabbanan, they were lenient there to say that if it was already connected to the ground and then you etched it out into a gutter, so then it will not passel the ritualarium. But if that's the case, well then why don't you say if it's only Ma'im Shuvin D'Rabbanan, so say the Zel Bazach by when you first etched it out and then connected it to the ground, say there also, be lenient. Say it does not passel the ritualarium. So Shani Yosim Dikatoras clear love betalish. Well, the difference there is because when it was disconnected from the ground, it was mamash a vessel. You had made it into a vessel, mamash a vessel. Ma'im she'uvin is water that right that's from a vessel. So memele, it's too weird to say that would not passel the ritualarium. So if you made it into a vessel and then you connected it to the ground, it passes the ritualarium. But if it was connected to the ground and then you made it into a vessel, it won't pass the ritualarium because Ma'im Shuvin is only midrabanan. But by Tumah D'Oraisa, the Rabbanan would say that whether you first made this shelf into a shelf and then connected to the wall, or whether it was connected to the wall the whole time, it would still be Mekabel Tumah. By Rav Yosef asakasha megishamim shechoshav aleim leadiach es ha'itz deroblin mahu Lizroim alibador beliezer dam kol mechub lekarka reu kekarka lo tiboi loch ki tiboi loch alibador abonu dam enu kekarka mai teku. We're going to say chveisnish teku. So okay, food, right? As we know, right? Food is mukhshel lekabel tuma when once water comes in touch with it, right? So if you have like wheat, when it's connected to the ground, even if it rains on it, it's not going to be Makabel Tumah, it's connected to the ground. Once you harvest it, it is still not Makabel Tumah. In order for it to become Mukhshel Makabel Tumah, water needs to fall on it. But apparently, the water needs to, if you don't want it, if you don't have any purpose for that water and you don't want it at all, for any reason, so then it will not be, you have no intention for this water at all, so then it will not be Machshir L'Kabel Tumah. You have to have some kind of intention for it, even if your intention is not for the wheat, but it could be for anything. I don't know. You want to take a shower. I don't know. You need drinking water, whatever it is. So then, if that water it lands on the wheat, so it'll be Machshir L'Kabel Tumah. So Rav Yosef asked, Megisham, if you have rainwater. Shechoshav aleim laderches ha'etz droblin. So he had a thought that, oh wow, it's raining. I'll use the rain to wash the mill. What was it called? The mill ring, I think is what it was. Some kind of ring around a mill. I don't know. So now the shaila is so ma'u lizroim. So since he had the intention with the rainwater for some kind of purpose to wash this mill ring. So would it therefore be machshir the zraim seeds to be mekabel tumah? So according to Rabbi Eliezer, who says that anything connected to the ground is considered like the ground, so the mill ring is connected to the ground, so it's considered like the ground, and the karka is not mekabel tumah, so therefore the intention that he had for the water to be used on the ground is not going to be an intention that would be machshir the zraim mekabel tumah. But kitiboy loch libidor abon dami eno kekarka. My. What about according to the rabbis who say that it would not be considered like karka? So would would that intention to clean this millstone be machshir the zraim mekabel tumah teku? Ich weiß nicht. Shalach la Reb Nechemya brei de Rav Yosef le Rabba brei de Rav Huna zuti lenaydo. Ki asyo ach itzo lekamoch agbo isu nichse afilu mitzduble de rechaim. That if, right, as we learned in Masechet Ksubis, that if a father passes away, so 10%, if he didn't specify anything, so 10% of the estate is earmarked for his daughter's dowry. So now so that would come from the karka. So the shaila is the mill ring considered like karka that can go towards the dowry. So again, so shalach lei Rav Nechemya b'ed Rav Yosef l'Rabba bar b'ed Rav Huna zuti l'na'adoki asya ach itzo l'kamach. If a woman comes before you, agba isu nichsei, so the 10% for her dowry can come even from the mill ring. Amr Rav Ashi says, Rav Ashi Kavina Bey Rav Kana. We were by the basement of Kana Magbinon. We would collect for the dowry. Afilu may amola debate, even from rental fees, even from rental fees for apartments. But apparently it wasn't like at the end of the rental, because then it would be considered metaltlin. But like if it's during the rentals when it wasn't yet due, because we know that rentals are only due at the end. We learned from Ezu Neshech. So it'd have to be like somehow like in the middle, and at that point it would be considered, I guess, connected to the property and not necessarily metaltlin. All right, that was Daf Samach Vav, Masechet BavaBasra. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.